Hey guys, just a little quick check-in, and it's Sunday here out in beautiful British Columbia, and I know of course it's Monday in Australia. And so it's I was talking last time about ketogenic diets, and ketogenics just refers to the metabolic process the body goes through hunting for fuel. And so ketone bodies are found in the bloodstream when the body's looking for non-glucose forms of energy. And the body always has to convert energy into glucose. Glucose is converted down to ATP. And so the body has this metabolic pathway, but it still has to, it can't just take fat and turn fat into energy. There's a breakdown process that we utilize. And so when we look at ketogenic diets, the idea being is that to really minimize the free glucose levels. If you look at, you can imagine sitting down and having a bowl of cereal, for example, a big bowl of oatmeal. Well, the thing with oatmeal and with most grains in their cooked form is that they're glucose already. So there's no conversion time, right? They don't have to be converted into glucose. They are glucose. So the release time is actually quite rapid, and it can cause a fairly high rise in your blood sugar pretty quickly. We also look at fruits. Of course, the sugar from fruits is fructose. So fructose has to be converted to glucose before it actually gives rise to the free levels of glucose in our bloodstream. So generally, fruit sugars have a lesser impact on our insulin levels, but I know for myself, I'm quite sensitive to any sugar, so that's why I choose more of a ketonic diet. And what that looks like for me is that if I break down my calories, look at my total calories throughout the day, I would say approximately, not always, but approximately 40% of my calories come from fat, 40% come from protein, and then only about 20% will come from carbohydrate. Now I have lots of volume of carbohydrate. I just don't have a lot of calories from carbohydrate. Right? So crunchy leafy vegetables, you can have those ad nauseum, and they're of course they in volume they look to be quite a bit, but they don't provide a lot of energy. And I'm really choosing to have most of my energy sources from fat and protein because it just feels better in my body. It feels better in my brain. I have greater mental clarity for longer periods of time eating that way, and there's sufficient proof to show that eating in a more ketonic fashion can work for a lot of individuals, and I find it especially more relevant to in a day and age where we're not that active anyhow, right? We're more administrators and desk workers, what have you. And even physical labor isn't like physical labor used to be, where people were, really swinging an axe and digging big holes in the ground and doing a lot of hard labor. Now it's just WCB regulations really disallows us from working too hard lest we get hurt, right? So the amount of effort required to really physically be alive is, of course, quite a bit less. So that's why we lean a little bit more into ketonic-based diets. So if you look at paleo is more or less verging on more of a ketonic mindset. And basically paleo just simply is, paleo runs the idea of no dairy, no grains. Well, I use dairy in my diet in the form of of course, my shakes and what have you that I use. And I'm not so stringent where I just, I'm a paleo zealot, because I do make allowances to it. But I would say, again, 89% of the time, my diet is fairly paleo. So anything paleo-like. And again, don't be too religious on the whole idea. It's just I make allowances. Like, for example, I would use a carbohydrate night. Let's say, for example, on a Saturday night, I would go and have I would allow myself to indulge a little bit, or maybe it's more of a pasta meal. And the thing is, it'll spike my blood sugar. It'll drive my glucose levels up. And the following day, of course, I fast. And I do that just to give myself a mental break where I'm just not so rigid all the time. Even though I like what I eat, I want that flexibility and not rigidity. So it's always had that way out. And I do enjoy the taste of other foods. So for me, it's actually having spaghettini with meatballs and garlic toast, and a huge carbohydrate push. But I do it, once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, and that feels good. It's fine. My guts don't feel so great the following day, but it's just really good to really drive those glucose levels up a little bit, and we do this to help reset leptin levels, right? You never really want to be in a totally restrictive phase all the time, not always cleansing, not always staying so tight and rigid, because you don't make fat overnight, right? You learn how to make fat. You teach your body how to make fat. So it's chronic behaviors over time. So because we zigzag our calories and we have days that our calories spike and days our calories are lower, of course that makes it really easy. So If it's, excuse me, if I'm training on a Friday and my calories are high, then I may choose Friday night to do my to kind of peak my calories, where I might go Friday night and have dinner and drinks with friends, and then Saturday I'd either go into to a 3/4 cleanse day or do a full cleanse day on Saturday, just because, right? I like cleansing and I enjoy dinner with friends, so you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's just a matter of learning how to play around with lifestyle and understanding why you're doing what you're doing, right? So, drinking alcohol every single day is probably not a good idea. Having a lot of starch every single day is not really a really good idea. But you kind of pick those points in time of enjoyment where, if I'm heading to teach next week, I'm heading to South Carolina, so I'll probably go for dinner and probably have a couple drinks and maybe one or two of the nights I'm there. And I won't do that again because for the duration I'm there, because the following weekend I'm in Las Vegas at the celebration, at the event there. So, but I pick and choose my battles. I pick and choose the events. So if I know I'm going to have one night out, then I won't do that the following night or the following several nights. So it's really just learning how to manage your lifestyle and realize that it's okay to do it. It's okay to, we didn't become overweight by making one mistake once, right? We got into a pattern of behavior over time. And then we're trying to backpedal our way out of it. So sometimes it takes a little bit of a little finagling with your diet and to understand how your body's reacting, how your body's responding. But I think looking at paleo concepts and really sticking with that, and the biggest thing is be honest about what you're doing, be honest about your diet, be honest about your intentions, be honest about your intensity. If you're unsure about where you are, if you don't know exactly how many calories you take in, then track them for 2 or 3 days and see. Even look back at the last 3 days and try to remember what you ate, because you get a really good idea what the number is rather than guessing. Because you can underestimate anywhere from 80 to 200% as far as your caloric intake. So there's quite a big variance there. So we set a lot of guidelines and general rules for you guys to follow, but it's up to you to really make sure to know exactly where you are within that framework. So we know you're getting stronger, we know you're getting fitter, but the leaner part really requires a lot of attentiveness to diet, attentiveness to a little bit of detail in that part, and knowing what kind of calories you're taking in. Even though you're following the menu, just track it one day. Just look at the idea of cups and grams and ounces of the food that you're taking in just over a period of a couple of days. Because once you understand what that looks like once, you'll own that forever. Anyhow, guys, hope you have an amazing day, and we'll talk to you on the page. Bye.